Hi, and thanks for clicking on the video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded anything to YouTube, so I thought I'd take this opportunity just to show you guys what it is that I've been working on that's been keeping me so busy. Now, those of you that follow me on Facebook and Instagram are probably already aware of the fact that I've started a small fledgling company run from home called Infinity Archery. The idea behind Infinity Archery was to create custom, useful archery gear at a price point that every archer can afford. So I decided that I wanted to start with a fairly simple project just to make sure that it is something that I was capable of doing. And in order to do that, what I thought I would do was create a sunshade for the Titan scope that I have on my compound bow. Now, Titan do actually make a sunshade for their scope, and it kind of has a Velcro attachment system. So you've got to glue Velcro to your scope housing, and then the sunshade looks kind of like the peak of a cap, Velcros on and sticks out the front. I didn't really like that idea because if I ever decided I wanted to remove it, I thought it would be a bit of a pain to try and get all of that glue residue and everything off of the scope housing. So after doing a bit of measurement with my calipers, I realized that this is actually a very, very well machined, precisely machined scope housing, and it would be fairly easy to design something that would fit on it the way that I thought would be best. And what I came up with is basically this here. So this is a sunshade for the Titan scope housing, and it actually friction fits onto the front of the scope. Now I'll bring it up closer to give you guys a better look. So as you can see, it is 3D printed, and as is inherent with a 3D printing process, it's not perfectly smooth like an injection molded plastic piece or anything like that. But if you can get past that, it's actually pretty good. I mean, the quality of the print's pretty decent. But as far as the design features are concerned, you can see inside there's a bit of a registration ring, and the way that that works is it ensures that when you friction fit this onto the front of the scope sits straight. Now, it is your responsibility to make sure that the tallest part of the scope housing is at the top, vertically straight, like that. And I think it looks really good on there. Everybody's ideas are a bit different though, so it's up to you to decide whether it's something you like or not. It does do the job. It stops the sun from glaring on my lens, and it looks good at the same time. As an added bonus though, I was shooting in the rain a couple of weeks ago, and it did seem to keep the rain off of my lens as well. Now, the friction fit is very, very good. I've shot hundreds of arrows out of my bow with this hanging off of the front of it, and it hasn't even moved once. Originally, I did have some design issues where the tolerances weren't quite right, and just shooting one arrow would have this fly off onto the ground. So I had to redesign a couple of times until I got to this point, and pretty much I'm 100% sure it's not going to vibrate off the end of my bow. Now, it does also come in a whole bunch of different colors, as you can see over here, and if you head along to the Facebook page or the eBay store, you'll be able to have a look at all those colors as well. One of the things that I thought was pretty cool though was that I can also get this material in sort of a semi-transparent, different colors as well. I happened to buy a blue roll of it, and the idea behind this was that it would stop the direct glare off of the lens, but still let enough light through that on an overcast day like today, your scope housing isn't going to be too dark. So, which is an issue a lot of archers have seen with sunshades of a similar design, I suppose. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you guys was the Infinity Archery Arrow Fletching Rest, and what inspired me to design this was when I fletch my arrows, I don't always wait for the glue to cure completely before I take the arrow out of the fletching jig, but what I then do is put the arrow on the edge of the table like that so that the glue can dry properly without the feathers or fletches being bent from just resting on the table. Now, inevitably what happens when you've got inside dogs and things like that is they'll walk past the table, their tail wagging, they'll knock that and it'll fall on the ground. If you have children, similar sort of thing. Just wasn't the best for me as far as that's concerned. So I thought I'd have a try at designing something that I could put on the table that I'd then rest this on so that it keeps the feathers off of the table but not hanging over the edge, so that it can dry properly without bending the feathers or the vanes or anything like that. And what I came up with is the Infinity Archery Arrow Fletching Rest. And basically how this works is it sits on the table like that. It's got little cutouts for 6 arrows. So you place it on the table, fletch your arrow, take it out of the jig, put it on there, and as you can see, it keeps the feathers clear of the table until they're properly dried. Now, if you happen to be doing really large feathers or vanes, what you can do is just offset them like that as you put them into the jig. Obviously this is hanging over the edge of the table now, but if you move the whole assembly that way, it wouldn't be, because if they're right next to each other, the feathers and the glue and everything's going to touch each other, so you do need to do that in order to prevent that from happening. Now, I went through a few design iterations of that as well, and basically this is what we've got now. Oops, wrong way around. So as you can see, it all prints as one piece, and then basically that snaps out like that, and those little posts register in those little holes, and then you can sit it on the table and it's ready to go. So those are the things that I've been working on that are finalized and available for purchase on my eBay store. You can find the link for that off of my Facebook page. I'll also put it in the description of this particular video. The other thing I wanted to show you was a prototype that I'm working on, which is actually a rear shade for the Titan scope. Now, it works pretty much the same way as the front shade, and friction fits onto the back of the housing. It does also allow for the bubble to stay where it is. One major difference though is that I'm toying with the idea of making this lip on the back in different sizes so that you can actually adjust the size of your aperture without buying a different scope. So far it's been working pretty well for me. Those of you who only have the one bow and shoot indoor and outdoor probably know that depending on the lighting conditions, your peep sight's either perfect, too big or too small. And what I thought would be a cool idea is have different sizes of those apertures so that it doesn't matter where I'm shooting, I can just change them out and I'll always have that perfect peep size. So far it's working pretty well. As I said, that's a prototype, so the print quality on it isn't great, but that's because I used low resolution for prototypes because it prints quicker and I can get out and actually try out, see if the thing works a lot faster as well. I do have ideas for more products as well. I want to try and make more sunshades for different scopes. The only trouble is I don't have access to those scopes currently because I'm not going to go and buy one of every scope to try and design a product for it. And I've put the feelers out to try and borrow a few here and there to get some ideas to make more. So far, it's going pretty well. And if you are interested in having anything specific made for you, let me know. And basically we could probably work something out. So now that I've got this up and running, I'm planning on getting back to making the usual videos that I did fairly regularly for you guys as well. So thanks for watching. Leave a like or a comment below. Remember to click on the subscribe button if you've not already done so, and hit the little bell icon so you receive a notification each time I upload a new video. I hope you guys all have a great week, and remember, just do good shots. So as you can see there, it'll keep the feathers suspended in the air until the glue So as you can see there, it'll keep the feathers or the vanes suspended in the air until the glue ploppily